Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at something really fundamental, resilience, how we handle life's knocks.
Hmm.
We've got this essay, a pretty personal reflection on setbacks and building that inner strength.
Right, and the idea is to pull out some real practical strategies for you, the listener.
Exactly. So you can feel, well, better prepared, more informed about building your own toughness when things get difficult.
It's about moving from feeling completely derailed by challenges
Yeah.
to actually managing them with a stronger inner core, getting those actionable insights.
Okay, so let's dive in.
Yeah.
The author starts by comparing, like, their old reactions to adversity.
Right. The anxiety, maybe some blame, anger, that spiral we sometimes fall into.
Totally.
Mhm.
Comparing that to how they handled an unexpected challenge more recently in 2025.
And this was after a really rough 2024, apparently. Health issues, money problems,
Sounds tough. So they had that initial, oh no, not again feeling.
which is understandable.
But then, interestingly, they realized they were actually coping better, even getting like 8 hours of sleep despite the setback.
That's a huge shift, isn't it? Sleeping soundly when things are stressful, it shows a real change in their internal state.
Definitely. It wasn't just luck. It was a noticeable improvement in how they could, respond.
And what's key here is that this improved ability wasn't accidental. The author suggests the hard times in 2024 actually helped build this capacity for 2025.
Interesting. So going through difficulty can actually make you stronger later.
It seems so. Even if it feels awful at the time, it can inadvertently strengthen your resilience muscles, so to speak.
So how did they build that strength?
Yeah.
The author talks about these three pillars, a strong foundation. First one, mindfulness.
Right. And this isn't just, a trendy concept. It's about actively noticing those overwhelming thoughts when they pop up.
And learning how to unhook from them, create some distance.
Exactly. The essay mentions daily meditation, breath work, things like that. Key practices.
So it's not about silencing your mind, which sounds impossible.
Definitely not. More about changing your relationship with your thoughts, creating that space.
Okay. And they mention a specific technique.
Yeah, the 4-4-4-4 breathing, like inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4.
Like an instant reset button for anxiety.
Kind of, yeah, something you can do right in the moment. But the real power, the essay suggests, comes from the consistent, longer-term practice.
Like training a muscle.
Precisely. Training your brain over time to be less automatically reactive.
Makes sense. Okay, pillar number 2, exercise.
And not necessarily just like a gentle stroll, although that's good too.
Right. The author found more intense stuff worked better for them for channeling energy, anxiety.
Yeah, things like strength training, cardio, Pilates, yoga. Finding something that really engages you physically.
And again, the key word seems to be consistency.
Absolutely. It ties into that physical regulation. Exercise physically helps manage our stress response, regulates the nervous system.
So it's not just feeling good afterwards, the endorphins.
That's part of it, but regular activity actually changes how your body handles stress physiologically. Makes you less jumpy.
And finding something you actually like doing probably helps with sticking to it.
Crucial. Otherwise, it just feels like another chore.
Okay, pillar 3, faith.
Now, this can be a sensitive one. The author talks about their personal connection, mentions Jesus.
Right, but they also say faith looks different for everyone. It's more about having that spiritual anchor, something bigger.
Exactly. A source of support, meaning connection, especially when things feel overwhelming.
So even if someone isn't religious in a traditional sense, they can still cultivate that feeling.
I think so. It could be a connection to nature, to community, to a set of values. Anything that provides that sense of purpose and perspective beyond the immediate problem, it buffers against feeling alone or helpless.
That makes sense. It provides a different lens to view adversity through.
A framework for coping, yeah.
Okay, so after the pillars, the essay hits us with a bit of a reality.
Yeah. The idea that challenges are just inevitable.
Right. There is no plateau in life, the author says. And life will knock you down again. That's guaranteed. A bit blunt.
It is, but also maybe freeing. If you accept that setbacks will happen.
You stop asking, why me?
Exactly. It shifts the focus to, okay, this is happening. How do I deal with it? That acceptance is foundational to resilience.
Which leads right into the next point. Building this foundation proactively.
Yes. This is so important. You don't start building the seawall when the hurricane is offshore.
Good analogy. You build it during the calm times.
That's when you practice the mindfulness, get the exercise routine going, connect with your source of faith or meaning.
So the message for you listening is pretty direct. Start today. Don't wait for the crisis.
Absolutely, even small steps. The author suggests some really concrete first actions,
Like what?
like just 5 minutes of mindfulness practice. Doesn't have to be an hour.
Okay, manageable?
Or choosing one form of physical movement you can actually stick with. And maybe reconnecting with whatever gives you that sense of faith or deeper meaning.
Small bricks to start building that foundation.
Exactly. Tiny, consistent efforts add up. It's like compound interest for your inner strength.
And the payoff. The author contrasts standing on, like shifting sand, versus standing strong because you built something solid underneath.
Yeah, it's not just hoping you'll cope. It's knowing you have this inner resource, this foundation to rely on. It becomes your anchor.
Moving from vulnerability to stability.
That's the goal, weathering the storms instead of being swept away by them.
So the essay wraps up with a question, really a challenge aimed right at you, the listener,
Mm-hmm.
and asks, what's your first brick going to be?
I like that. It makes it personal, actionable. What's one small thing you can do today?
A great question to reflect on. What's that initial step towards building your own invincible summer, as the author puts it?
Indeed. Something to think about long after this deep dive ends. Thanks for exploring this with us.